Okay, we're going to do a quick little masking exercise. So what we're going to do is we're going to project some video onto an old TV screen, make it look like someone's watching a show on a television. This is kind of fun. It just kind of shows you how you can create some very interesting little masks in After Effects. So when we're done, it'll look like this. And what we have here is an old-time television set. And I took some film footage that I shot, and I masked it into the television set and stretched it a little bit vertically so it would look like the old-time TVs. And I faded it, masked it, faded it back, so you can kind of see the reflections of the television through the screen. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do that together. I'm going to start from scratch. We'll have a folder called Masking and Replacement with a few video clips and some old TV screens to work with. So I'm going to start from scratch, and I'm going to create a new composition, and I'm going to work at 1080, 29.97. The background could be any color you want, and the other background, it was blue. You can make it black, you can make it white. It's okay, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go to File and choose Import, and we're going to import a clip called Mr. D and a vintage TV screen. It's a PSD file import. So the cool thing is when you work with PSD files, it'll respect the transparency. Let's grab that vintage TV, drag it down into our project. There's a TV. I'm going to scale it up a little bit. Go down to Transform Scale. And I'll position it. And so there we go. So now we're ready to get started. We're going to import our video clip and drag that on top. And since it's 1080, it's going to fit over the whole screen. And we're going to squeeze that down by going to our Transform Scale. We want it to fit over that television set. Something like that. Now I'm going to unhinge the scale and squash it a little bit. I want to stretch it vertically and squash it horizontally just a little bit. Let's turn that top layer on and off. This we can squash it just a little bit more, not too much more. There you go, something like that. And then position it over the screen. Now what I want to do is I want to cut out the television. I want to cut out the video in the shape of the television. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that top layer is active but invisible. And then I'm going to grab my pen tool, and with the top layer active, I'm going to create a mask. So I'm just going to cut out the shape of this television here by clicking and dragging around the edges. And I can go back and clean this up later if it's not perfect. So if you're doing this on a television today, it actually would be simpler because televisions today are perfect square, right? Back then they were oval and they puffed out. And you'd see yourself in the reflection while you're watching the television and all that kind of good stuff. Let's come back and close that off. So there we go. So now what we want to do is we want to turn that layer on and set that mask to add. See, there's none. Subtract, intersect. We want to use add. So now we've successfully cut that television set out. Let's play through the footage. It takes a little while for it to start. So I want to start it where they first bust through the door. So I'm going to go to that frame, grab the work area, drag that over. And I'm going to trim it on that end composition, trim comp to work area. Now, what I want to do on top of that is I want to play with the mask a little bit. I want to feather the edges. Let's deselect it so you can see what you're doing. I want to feather the edges just a little bit. And I want to take the opacity and drag it down a little bit so you can kind of see the TV through, the reflection of the TV through the footage. Let's play it. So now it looks like you're looking at an old television. And you can adjust that feather or the opacity. Let's bring it up a little bit more. There we go. And if I run out of time, if the video ends too quickly, I can go up to composition settings, and increase the composition settings. So I increase the composition settings to 15 seconds to play the whole clip. By default, it may be 15 seconds. And so now it looks like we're looking at an old TV screen. And that's our project. Let's stop there.